According to the government, we do not exist. We're ghosts. We are very real. And we get things done.
Mile 22 is directed by Peter Berg and stars Mark Wahlberg as James Silva, a member of an elite CIA group that is tasked with escorting a high-priority asset to an extraction point 22 miles away. And hilarity ensues. For those not keeping track, this is the fourth time that Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg have worked together, the previous times being Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, and Patriots Day. Unfortunately, Mile 22 falls pretty short of the standards set by those previous times. For sure, there's a good movie in there somewhere. Unfortunately, it gets buried in the mess that is Mile 22. It gets off to a pretty good start as we're introduced to Silva and his team during a raid on a Russian safe house. Members of said team include Alice Kerr, played by Lauren Cohan, Bishop, played by John Malkovich, and Sam Snow, played by Ronda Rousey. There are a few others, but none of any real note. The whole raid on the Russian safe house is the setup for a plot twist at the end, but it immediately feels out of place as the rest of the movie gets going. After the raid, we're given an introductory montage that quickly goes through the events of Silva's life, none of which appears to have any bearing on the rest of the movie. They very much attempt to sell us on the fact that the Silva character is intellectually gifted, but there's zero payoff for that sell. Everything past that is the James Silva character in a debriefing of some sort, explaining the events that follow. That is, the aforementioned escort mission. And this debriefing weaves in and out of the story as it takes place. During the telling of the events of the escort mission, we're introduced to two more characters of note. The high-priority asset, Lee Noor, played by Iko Uwais, maybe, and the only person that can really be labeled an antagonist, Axel, played by Sam Medea. The storytelling is choppy, and there were times when I completely forgot that we were actually being told a story, until it switched back to the debriefing as a jarring reminder. The cinematography is horrendous, like Bayformers 2 horrendous, to the point where it was nauseating to watch. This is probably the most disappointing part, too, because Iko Uwais is far and away the best part of this movie, and you can tell that his fight scenes are fantastic to behold. Unfortunately, you can't behold said fight scenes because the combination of ridiculous levels of shaky cam and an insane amount of fast cuts makes following the action impossible. It's hard to comment on the acting of this movie because, really, they didn't have much to work with. Character development is almost non-existent, and most of the movie is just one long action sequence. That said, Lauren Cohan and John Malkovich give exactly the performance you expect from these actors, and that's a good thing. Even Ronda Rousey, who is normally a pretty bad actor, held her own and had one scene that was particularly good. Iko Uwais is a beast, and I really like Sam Medea. And then there's Mark Wahlberg. I don't know what Wahlberg was going for with his portrayal of this character, but he probably should have went with something else. The first thing I noticed was this weird affectation he had with his voice. He was forcing his voice into a higher pitch than he normally speaks in, and while I understand why someone would do this in certain instances,
your mother created our world.
I don't understand why Wahlberg did it here. At best, it was distracting. The worst part of Wahlberg's character might not be his fault. It's that the character of Silva is completely unlikable. This is an issue. When your main protagonist is the most irritating, self-absorbed jerk on the screen, you've got a problem. In the end, Mile 22 gives us very little to like, which is disappointing because I think it could have been way better than it turned out to be. Just about everyone involved here has proven time and again that they are capable of better, so I was a little surprised at how much I disliked this movie. I'm going to give it 1 out of 5 stars. There's potential here, but that potential never sees the light of day, and I doubt I'll ever watch this one again. That'll do. Have you seen Mile 22 yet? What are your thoughts? Am I being too critical? Let's talk about it in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you back here next week with my review of, I don't know, something. I don't know what yet. The only movies set for wide release next week are Axel and the Happy Time Murders, and I'm not interested in seeing either. So who knows?